When Melissa Harris Perry got into hot water, she was saying on television that your kids belong to the community and not to parents. That's an MSNBC promo. She and the left try to play this off as no big deal. She said, oh, I don't want to take your kids. But then she followed it up with what this fight is really all about. Listen to this.
This is about whether we as a society, expressing our collective will through our public institutions, including our government, have a right to impinge on individual freedoms in order to advance a common good. And that is exactly the fight that we have been having for a couple hundred years.
America, listen up carefully. What if society decides it's best for the collective, for your child, to go through the government school system and nothing else? Just what the government says, you know, for the common good. Your children are at school for 6 and even 8 hours a day. There are those in this administration that want them to be in school for 10 to 12 hours a day. And they're currently there from the age of 6 until 18. That's a pretty huge decision, choosing where and who schools your children. And currently it's being made by you with your local school board. Kind of. If mom and dad can't make that decision, who is more the parent of the child in this case, the collective or the parent? They are with others, and those others are making decisions in their life that greatly impact their life. You get them at dinner. You have them at breakfast. You have them on weekends. You are a weekend dad. Tonight I'm going to introduce you to a couple and a family that left their native Germany for this very reason. The Romeike family. They have been homeschooling their children in Germany because they wanted to teach their children about God. Now, this is not something that you're allowed to do in Germany in school. After 5 years of homeschooling, this family had the government show up on their door. One day, the German government knocked on their door. They removed their children from the home, placed them in a van, and escorted the kids to class. Well, the kids, as you can imagine, were in tears. A government van shows up and throws them in the back. Now, I would imagine that my kids would be in tears, being ripped from their home, thrown in the back of the van, a frightening experience. But the next day, the police showed up again. But this time something happened. Friends surrounded the lawn and the police decided to leave. The family was eventually fined $10,000 for homeschooling their children. $10,000 fine because they don't have a right to homeschool. Obviously, if they were to continue homeschooling there, they would have gone bankrupt, paying fines, or go to jail. They were told that they would go to jail and lose the kids. Here is their story. Tonight I want to introduce you to a family that eats together, laughs together, and cries together. I want to tell you the story of the Romeike family. In 2008, the parents moved their kids from Germany to seek asylum in America because they were being persecuted for homeschooling, which is an old Nazi law in Germany. Homeschooling is still illegal. It took 2 years, but in 2010, they were granted asylum by the U.S. government. We feel here that you should be able to teach your kids whatever you want. In Germany, the old Nazi laws say no. In a small town outside of Knoxville, Tennessee, they found a place to call home, and what a home it is.
The landscape is very nice, and the people are very nice and friendly, and I would say they are also nicer and friendlier to kids here.
There, the family with 6 kids were able to finally enjoy the freedom they had dreamed of. The freedom to live, learn, teach in their own home, and follow their Christian beliefs.
We enjoy the freedom of homeschooling here, so freedom of education. That's something we didn't have.
But their struggle is far from over. The life they have created in the town with the rolling hills in Tennessee is now being threatened. Because this administration wants you to know it is not a basic human right to be able to teach your children what you deem appropriate. Now, the U.S. Agency for Immigration and Customs Enforcement, ICE, has filed an appeal on their asylum. This has already gone through a U.S. court. They have asylum. And ICE, what is it the president says we have bigger things to do? ICE is now arguing that homeschoolers are not a fit category for granting asylum. In other words, there is no basic human right to educate your own children as you see fit. I want you to know that this is the most crucial and critical piece of the entire hour that you need to understand. The family is fighting for their right to stay here in America. They're fighting deportation. Romeike versus Holder is now before the United States Court of Appeals for the Sixth Circuit and will be held in 5 days. This amazing family came to America to educate their children. They thought they were coming to the land of the free, but unfortunately, they may not recognize it as much as some of us will. They are being targeted for educating their own children in the land of the free, and they may not recognize how far we have drifted. This time, by the same administration that would not go after the Black Panthers. They have been dancing around the Saudi national that just blew off limbs of Americans in our streets, and people are currently petitioning the White House to grant a permanent legal status to this family. But they have no intention of it. Why? Jay Carney was asked about this just last week.
There's a petition at whitehouse.gov, an online petition, and it's gotten over 100,000 signatures saying they want the president to intervene so that this family doesn't have to go back to Germany. They think the public schools, they've been homeschooling their kids here in America, and they don't like the German public schools. It's reached over 100,000 signatures. What's the process for reacting to something like that, and are you aware of the specific case?
I'm not aware of it. I will certainly take the question. We do have a threshold beyond which we respond to We the People petitions, and if that threshold is crossed, I'm sure we will respond, but I don't have a specific comment on this case.
The petition now has over 117,000 signatures, more than the required 100,000 to be able to get that response from the White House. But Carney isn't aware of it. So why would the administration go out of their way to fight this? What difference does this make? Remember, they were releasing illegal immigrant criminals from prison because of sequester before sequester even hit. So why would this administration, why are they fighting tooth and nail to send this family who is here legally back to Germany? Why? We go back to MSNBC. As the progressive host said, they believe your children is not yours. They belong to the collective. Progressives are always teaching our kids that the state knows better than mom and dad. Well, what better way to hammer that point home than to stick it to this homeschooling family from Germany and set a precedence? Leftist hack sites like Salon are now arguing that I'm only defending this family because they're white. What are you for? I am defending them because I do believe that we have a God-given right to teach our children the way we feel God is telling us to teach our children. It's why our pilgrims came here. So, where do we go here? With these modern-day American pilgrims who came here to teach their children and raise their children and worship with their children as they see fit. The administration is fighting them because progressives want total control over your children from cradle to grave. This is a secondary and critical part of Common Core. While we focus on Common Core, while they cultivate information on our kids, they are also blocking the exits by throwing a little-known German family through deportation and throwing them under the bus. But it's not about them. It's about you in the end. Tonight, I'm going to introduce you to this family, and I believe by the end of the hour, you will deeply care about these people, and you may even find the need to stand up for your own rights, for your own children, as you stand up for this family. It is imperative that this family is not sent home. If they lose, you lose. The right as a parent, you know, that private notion of children will be destroyed. Mercury One has been spearheading a defense fund for the family. So far, we have raised $92,204.84. Mercury1.org. Go there now if you'd like to donate. 100% of the proceeds go to the family for their legal defense. We sent a team of producers to the Romeike home, and I will tell you that they came home as changed people. Stick around for the hour, and I believe you will leave the hour as a changed person as well.